Hello, welcome to the season. This edition of the show is of special interest to anybody with the Z Cars theme tune on their iPods. We're going back to 1984-85, the season that Everton finally emerged from the large, annoying shadow cast by the light reflecting off all that silverware across the city at Anfield and established themselves as a power at home and in Europe. Talking us through it is a man who played through it and picked up the PFA Player of the Year award in the process as Everton chased the treble. Peter Reid. Peter, you were at Goodison for 7 seasons. You won more than one league title, more than one cup. How significant is that season in Everton history?
Well, it was massive, obviously. Winning cups is, i.e. the icing on the cake, but when you win a championship, and especially the Evertonians, after, which you rightly said, put up with from across the park, Liverpool was so successful through the 70s and the early 80s. So it was a massive, massive boost for the Blue Half of Merseyside.
And to put it in context, we should remind ourselves just how bad things have been the season before. Miserable run in the league, crowds down as low as 9,000, almost going out of the Milk Cup to Oxford, and fans campaigning for Howard Kendall to be sacked and the board of directors to follow him out the door. It
was a really difficult time for everyone concerned, especially with the success Liverpool were having over the park. But the board of directors stuck with the manager. We played Coventry New Year's Day, I think, and 13,000 cushions on, leaflets, get Kendall, Carter out. So it was a real difficult time. Turning point for me, a lot of people go on about Oxford, was Stoke City away in the FA Cup when the manager Howard come in, and obviously he was under pressure, but he opened the window, the old Victoria ground, opened the window in the dressing room, and all you could hear was Evertonians. I think we took about 10,000 fans there, and Howard didn't have a team talk. He just said to us, go out and do it for the fans. We won the game 2-0, and the rest, they say, is history.
All right, let's take a look at a bit of that history. Everton against Watford in the FA Cup final, May 1984.
Away from Price. Into Reid, good advantage played by John Hunting. And Reid comes through for Everton. Well, Peter Reid, a battler to start with in the middle of the field. He's always been that, a competitive edge to his play, but when he saw the chance to go through on his own, he took it. Richardson. And here he is again. And the cross headed half away, and Stephen Sharp, and a goal for Everton by Graham Sharp. Everton in front after 38 minutes, and Graham Sharp, who wouldn't have played in this final possibly had other players been fit, is the scorer. Stephen again. Gray and Sharp waiting in the centre. And Gray is closing in here. Oh, and Sherwood didn't collect, and the goal is given. The challenge of Gray, too much for the goalkeeper. And Everton are 2-0 in the lead, and Sherwood disappointed. Gray and Everton ecstatic as Trevor Stephen crossed the ball from the right. Andy Gray comes in, marked by Steve Terry, but he beats him and Sherwood, and the ball is in the net. And Merseyside, the Evertonians, are celebrating their second goal. A memorable moment for Evertonians everywhere. Their first major trophy for 14 years.
So, Peter, a respectable 7th place finish in the league, but more importantly, finally a piece of silverware in the Goodison cabinet after all those years. So, coming into 84-85, pre-season training must have been pretty good.
Yeah, it was excellent. A lot of confidence. I think we went to Charity Shield, beat Liverpool, but Howard was very active in the transfer market, which surprised the lads, because I was in the middle of the park with Kevin Richardson, who went on to win a league championship with Arsenal as well. And Howard went out and bought Paul Bracewell from Sunderland for I think it was about 250 grand then, extortionate fee, to go in the middle of the park with me and Pat Vander now, and it raised eyebrows in the dressing room. But what it did for us, you know, no one's safe here. No one's got a place. We all have to play for a place. And Paul Bracewell was a really good young player, and Pat Vander now a great defender. So it got us all on our toes at the start of that season. I'm laughing because we didn't have a great start, but it was meant to get us all on our toes.
Talk about Howard Kendall a bit then, though. I mean, he obviously knew what was expected at Everton because he'd been there as a player, part of the 69-70 Championship side. What was he like as a manager? Of course, he was there with his old midfield partner, Colin Harvey.
Yeah. Well, he was there with Mick Eaton at first, and then he moved Colin Harvey up, which was a masterstroke. He had a lot of young players. People forget that, you know, the Southalls, the Sheedys, the Ratcliffes, the Graham Sharps, the Adrian Eats, Trevor Stevens, all these were young lads, hadn't got a lot of experience. Then he got two old players in, me and Andy Gray. But Howard was great with us. You know, he after the difficult time, we got on in a decent system of play. We all good balanced side, and what he was very good tactically before games and at half time, but he knew how to give you the G up in his own way, and his training was fantastic. All ball work, everything was with the ball. Obviously he did a lot of running, but everything revolved around technique, and he's been the most successful manager in Everton's history, and rightly so. He was excellent.
All right, well, before we go any further, let's hear from Howard Kendall. Here he is speaking right after the FA Cup final victory over Watford and talking about the turnaround at the club.
The people that I wanted to stay with me were the people in the terraces, because I had tremendous affection with them as a player. And although I needed a little bit of support at that particular time, which the chairman and directors gave me, it was the people out there that I cared for and wanted to do well for. And when I went back to Everton, I wanted them to remember me as a good player. Yeah. And when I said, whenever I leave Everton Football Club, I want them to remember me as a successful manager. And hopefully today's gone a little way towards that.
Pete, you hear Howard talking about, you know, how he wants to be remembered. His legacy, as far as the fans are concerned, obviously important, and the fans really loved him.
Well, he was part of that great midfield trio, wasn't he? Alan Ball, Colin Harvey, Howard Kendall, who won the championship in 1970. Successful as a player, and he was desperate for success as a manager.
And he would have realised that, I mean, fans at all clubs want their teams to play well, but there's a certain standard expected by Everton fans. They're not happy if you just win.
I think it was called a School of Science at Goodison, and obviously Howard wanted us to get the ball down and play, but we mixed it as well. If someone wanted a battle out there, so to speak, we could do the physical side, but we had a lot of quality players, and that's the way he wanted us to play.
All right, we're going to take a break there. When we come back, we'll get stuck into the 84-85 season.
Proudly sponsored by C&A Building Plastics.
Some things just can't be undone. Others can't be avoided. You can't darn stop what's coming when the big gun's right into town. Arsenal v Liverpool, exclusively, not live.
This weekend at 11 on ESPN Classic.
I love the 60s.
Swinging London, changing London.
John, Paul, George and Ringo.
It was such a special time.
It's one small step for man.
But nothing stays the same. Sadly, we all lose someone close to us. You can't prepare for the grief, but there is a way you can ease the money worries of those left behind. The 50-plus plan from LV can provide a guaranteed cash lump sum to help towards things like funeral expenses and unpaid bills. It costs from £8 a month, and with LV there's no medical or health questions, so you're guaranteed to be accepted. And there's a free gift when your plan starts. For your free information pack, call LV today on 0800 45 45 45. That's 0800 45 45 45.
Right now at DFS, as well as our amazing 4 years free credit and first year totally payment free, we're giving away half a sofa absolutely free. In fact, we've lots of sofas that come with half free. Of course, the free half is attached to the other half which you pay for. The half price emotive collection at DFS, where you buy half and get half free.
At Admiral, we cram every car insurance policy with great benefits, like a courtesy car as standard, personal injury cover, £100,000 legal protection, and you could choose your own excess.
Choose your excess, choose your excess.
Best of all, you could save yourself up to £140.
£140?
For a great deal on your car insurance, go to Admiral.com.
Don't forget, with Admiral, named drivers earn a no-claims bonus too. See how much you could save at Admiral.com.
Yes, I'm sitting in it now. Fantastic. Arrived on time in the morning, cleaned up every night. It was, well, really easy. And so affordable.
You're glad I gave you the name then.
Anglian Home Improvements. More customers.
Most recommended.
And don't miss up to 30% off conservatories in our big home improvement sale. Call 0800 500 600.
If she's unhappy, it makes me unhappy and it affects the kids as well. And now it's, it's changed. It's like a bit of a cloud being lifted.
Now that she's lost the weight, it takes half the time.
As a man, I've noticed. Sorry, dear.
At Weight Watchers meetings now, you'll find everything you need to kickstart your weight loss.
The woman that I married's back and it's fantastic.
Start your story while registration's free. Call 08457 123 000 for your nearest meeting. And when you arrive, get your free summer kickstart kit.
Collymore, and still stand Collymore, and it comes for Cantona. What a chance here for Keane, he's taken it.
Great footballers are not like ordinary people. They are heroes.
Monday at 6:50 on ESPN Classic.
Proudly sponsored by C&A Building Plastics.
Welcome back. It's October 1984 and Everton have had a decent start to the season. They're lying fourth in the table and dreaming of their first league title since 1970. In the meantime, they'd settled for their first win at Anfield since 1970. Here they are up against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. All the facts you need to know and some you could probably live without, from John Watson.
Everton's unchanged team, with their recent signing Pat Vanden Hauwe at left back, are trying to reverse modern history. They haven't won at Anfield for over 14 years, and their supporters are pushed to remember the last time they went into a derby match so far ahead of Liverpool in the First Division table. In fact, it was September 1964 when Everton came to Anfield and won 4-0. 90 years of football history embodied in this fixture. The 131st league meeting, and already Everton are pressing Liverpool, with Sharp going in quickly on Lawrenson. Sharp was up well there. Here's Trevor Steven. Driven, oh! Robillard equal to it. It was a vicious low ball from Trevor Steven. Stevens, it's a good ball. Bracewell on the end of it. Heath's unmarked in the centre. Bracewell's cross, and Robillard again fumbles. Here's Robinson, rush in the centre. Oh, he's rushed with a chance, and Harper got to him. Whelan. Dalglish. Kennedy is forward. Clearly back to the old days here, a packed Kop. Indeed, Everton and Liverpool supporters mingling there together. You can see by the caps, a wonderful atmosphere. Sharp. Heath. And Sharp. Deflection off Neil. Raced well, away from Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar's out of his goal. Stephen. And Whelan got a touch on it. Sharp's got a chance here. The Liverpool player is down injured, but play goes on. Stevens. And now Stephen. Grobbelaar isn't sure. And it's gone out. Stevens. Great save. He must have touched it and turned it round. And if he did, it was a fabulous save. Now Rush, he turned nicely there. And found Dalglish. Everton are playing for an offside, and Rush is through. Good save. It won't come back all at once for Ian Rush. But let's not forget, the goalkeeping of Southall may be the best in the country, or certainly one of the best, when it's 1 against 1. Reed. Stevens. Looking for Sharp, and he got behind Lawrence, and there did Sharp! What a fantastic goal! An unbelievable finish from Graham Sharp, and the Evertonians have gone berserk. I haven't seen a goal quite like that in a Merseyside derby for years. Absolutely marvellous to see him get behind the defender and then take it first time on the volley, giving Grobbelaar no chance. One of the goals of the season from the Everton number 9. Oh, mistake by Neil. It's Reed who's in here, and he's missed it. And a terrible misunderstanding between the Liverpool captain and I suppose it was Lawrence he was trying to find. And there it is, a moment of supreme celebration for Evertonians. Graham Sharp's goal, for them, not just the goal of the season, they would call it the goal of the decade. It's their first win here since March 1970. 14 and a half long years they've waited. And Neville Southall, whose save in the first half was so important, can celebrate now. The balance of power may be shifting on Merseyside, and Everton needed this result to prove it.
Now, Peter, obviously league titles are won over the course of a season, but that was a huge game. Liverpool were defending champions as well as being the old enemy. Did it feel like the balance of power was shifting?
There was a confidence about the place, but I mean, the players, we were confident we could go and give them a game. And the biggest thing for us, and me personally, when we ran out at Anfield that day, there was loads of Evertonians dotted around the place, and even in the famous Spine Cup. So besides the players believing it, I think the supporters really believed in it. You know, that we could compete against the best team, who were the best team in England at that time.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, the best team in England at the time did reside across Stanley Park. I mean, just give us a flavour of the intensity of that rivalry. Is it the same now as it was then?
Oh yes, without a doubt. I mean, when you've got two massive clubs in one city, and I think the biggest thing about the Merseyside derbies, and I think it is unique, it's families, that brothers. There's one blue and there's one red, and I don't think it happens anywhere else. And that rivalry, you can call it a fierce rivalry, but it's a fierce, friendly rivalry. And the massive, massive games. I mean, I remember in this game, honest, this is a true story, tackling halfway line, I think it was Kenny, and tumble him over. And my uncle, who was a red, coming up, you dirty, and I can't, and that is a true story. And I've turned around, shut up, sit down. Now that typifies Merseyside derbies.
And we didn't see it in operation in that game, but for most of the 84-85 season, the striking tandem you had was a pair of Scots. Let's start with Graham Sharp, because of course he'd be worth his place in the Everton Hall of Fame for that goal alone.
Yeah. Oh, a tremendous target man. If you ask centre halves at the time, name one player you don't want to play against, Graham Sharp would be him, because he was big, strong, good in the air, young, and he could get down the channels, you know, tremendous strength as well. And I don't think he was prolific, as more, some of his goals were spectacular, and none more so than the one he got at Anfield. You know, it was a great strike. And
alongside him, as we say, not in that game, but in most of your games that season, the talented but painfully shy Andy Gray.
Well, me and him, I think me and him both failed medicals, but you know, I think he must have had, his knee must have been bad that day. But both of them up front were really influential, because if we got anything wide to Trevor Stevens or Kevin Sheedy or the fullbacks, and that ball went into the box, you had to defend well. Because them two, and Andy, I mean, I remember him getting a header against Notts County, and he all volleyed it in with his head. Now that was typified Andy, but brave as a lion.
Andy Gray coming in 1983 had a huge impact at the club. Graham Sharp, who we'd had for a few seasons by then, really seemed to link up well together. Brought the best out of Sharpie, because he just, from that moment on, he just turned into one of our classic number 9s. And it's a big accolade after likes of Dixie Dean, Bob Latchford. Specifically in 1984-85, I think he scored 30 goals and was absolutely immense.
All right, let's take a look at Andy Gray in action now, from the days when only his fellow players and the ref could hear him.
Still in play. It's there at last.
Now, Peter, it's funny, he was, what, 28 when Howard Kendall signed him, Andy Gray, and people weren't exactly beating down Wolves' door to sign him at the time, but he turned out to be a great signing. Yeah, very, very charismatic in the dressing room, you know, one of them people who can motivate other people, if you like, on the football pitch. But funny enough, that season, I think Howard started with Adrian Heath and Sharpie up there, and Adrian, unfortunately, got a medial ligament injury against Sheffield Wednesday, and Howard, who was, let's say, chomping at the bit to get in the team, Andy went in there and did such a terrific job. And it's fair to say that them two were a fierce partnership up there. Now, to win the title, a team's got to be more than the sum of its parts, hasn't it? It's got to gel. It's got to become, you know, a really cohesive unit. I mean, talk about how that chemistry works in a title-winning side. Well, I think if you look at title-winning sides, obviously they've got to have something on the football pitch. I mean, that's obvious, well-balanced, you know, decent players. But the team spirit and the camaraderie between the lads was fantastic. Howard fostered that. I mean, it's fair to say, you know, when we had a drink and had a party, we enjoyed it. But, you know, when we got down to work, it was great. But if one of your mates was ever in trouble on the football pitch and you were playing for that side, you'd have his teammates coming to the rescue, and that was an integral part of us winning the championship that season. Not just the league, though. You were defending holders in the Cup. What do you remember about the early rounds of the FA Cup that year? Well, difficult game against Leeds. Doncaster, I think Ian Snowden played for Doncaster at the time, who Howard later signed. And then Telford, who were a non-league side, and I think it was a gate of over 50,000 at that game. It was a massive, massive game. Obviously we won it and then went on to play Ipswich. So some difficult games, but we were a confident side, and we always fancy getting to the final again, funny enough. All right, well, you talked about team spirit. Nowhere is team spirit tested more than in coming from behind, and that's what Everton had to do in the semi-final of that year's FA Cup up against Luton Town.
Does Everton come out to make FA Cup history by appearing in their 20th semi-final, and they'll be welcomed by some 25,000 supporters from Merseyside. Villa Park, a massive blue and white, as Evertonians express their allegiance to the side hoping to win 3 trophies. Gray and number 11 Kevin Sheedy return to the Everton side, with Harper and Richardson making way for them. It's Everton's 50th match of the season. That defence has already kept 25 clean sheets, and it includes number 3 Pat Van Den Houw, a former Birmingham colleague, curiously, of Luton's number 9, Mick Harford, who's scored 6 goals in the last 4 games. Donaghy with the kick. Here's Turner. And Nwajobi after a mistake by Stevens. And Everton looked jittery. Nwajobi. He's trying to take them on, Harford. And Nwajobi's in here. He's still in. Oh, blocked by Gary Stevens, nearly on the line. Nwajobi can't believe it. He was past the goalkeeper. And Stevens saves Everton. Steen. Hill. Looks for Parker. Harford's there. And here's Hill. Ricky Hill! Beautifully taken. And Luton deserve their lead. Credit first of all to Harford for unsettling the defence, then to Steen actually for holding one of the defenders off. But when it came out to Ricky Hill, that shot was unstoppable. Here's Turner. Steen. Turner again. Nwajobi! 3 times now he's been close. A good cross from Wayne Turner. Mountfield is forward for the kick. That was Mountfield, and that's Sheedy, and here's Bracewell. He hit the post. A fine effort by Paul Bracewell. Is Sheedy going to curl one? He drove one. It's there! Sheedy! Everton have equalised. Just under 5 minutes from the end. Kevin Sheedy with his left foot found the bottom corner. And Luton, who must have felt they were at the gates of Wembley, have suddenly been dragged back. And how? The last minute of the first period of extra time. Gray looks dangerous again. Reid is coming in. It's Reid! Great save by Sealing. And Reid has held his head. What a save that they'll appreciate. Sheedy curls it, Mountfield's there, and it's a goal! Derek Mountfield! And the free kick does the trick again, and Everton, the holders, are in front for the first time. Kevin Sheedy curled the kick. Derek Mountfield came in for the header. It's his 10th goal of the season, the big centre-half, and it's by far the sweetest for him and for the Evertonians. Van How to Gray. And there it is. Everton are through to their second successive FA Cup final. The holders come from behind to win in extra time, thanks to Derek Mountfield's goal. 21 games unbeaten now, still chasing the treble. Everton, at the end of a hard week, can celebrate again. Disappointment for Luton Town. Elation for Everton. And still, the question is who can stop Everton? They win here by 2 goals to 1 and go through to defend the FA Cup at Wembley on May the 18th.
Kevin Sheedy only passed fit this morning after the ankle injury. Both the goals the result of his free kicks.
Well, I mean, he's a vital member to us. He's natural left-sided and he's got tremendous quality. I mean, we all know what he can do at set pieces, and he's come up trumps today.
Now, tell me about the two free kicks, the one that brought the first goal and the one that brought the second.
Yes, I wasn't having the best of games myself, and thankfully we got a free kick on the edge of the box. And usually Gary Stevens hits them from there, but he didn't really fancy it, so I just got my head down and hit it, and thankfully it went in.
Was it one of those that you felt was going in from the minute you struck it, or were you a bit surprised?
Not really. I think I've hit better, but I think the keeper might have thought I was going to put it the other side, and he was a bit over that side too much, and it crept in the other corner.
He drove one. It's there! Sheedy!
Now, what about the winning goal, the one you made?
Yes, again, a free kick. It was a bit farther out, so I wasn't able to hit that one. So I just hit it in the hole, and Derek made a great run and stuck it away. He's got about 3 or 4 goals like that this season, so it was no fluke, really.
Sheedy curls it. Mountfield's there! And it's a goal! Derek Mountfield!
Kevin Sheedy, the saviour in that game, really, for you.
Great left foot. And funny enough, I think we played in Munich in the semi-final of the European Cup Winners' Cup on a Wednesday, and Sheeds was struggling with an ankle injury, and Howard played him and left Kevin Richardson out, and we were getting beat 1-0, and they were the better side, Luton. I've got to say, I think Ricky Hill scored from the edge of the box, and apparently the lads were saying Richo was giving the gaffer some stick on the bench, so you should have, I told you he wasn't fit, and lo and behold, Sheeds comes up with that magic wand of a left foot. You know, I think he scored a bobbler past Les Seeley, and then knocked in a free kick, which Derek Mountfield got in the end of, and I think the crowd's reaction showed what it meant to Evertonians, that result.
So, back at Wembley for the second year running, and you mentioned the Cup Winners' Cup there. You cruised through the early rounds there without conceding a goal. How important was Neville Southall to all that?
Well, at the time, he was without doubt the best goalkeeper in the world. I mean, and I've worked with the likes of Peter Shilton, who was at Dave Seaman, you know, at club level, international level, who were all great keepers. But this fella, that season was absolutely outstanding. I think he got an ankle injury again playing for Wales in Ireland, which might have he lost a little bit, but certainly the best goalkeeper in the world. Saved us in many games, which you always need. You need if they get past you, the defence, you always need a top-class keeper. There wasn't anybody better than Neville Southall at that time.
And in front of him is Wales teammate Kevin Ratcliffe.
Yeah, pace. I mean, we used to, if you like, hold a high line, because anything over the top, let me tell you, he was like an Olympic sprinter, and he used to get there. But he was an intelligent player as well, very intelligent. You know, he could read situations, but his pace and his strength were absolutely outstanding, and he was a good leader, he was a good skipper.
All right, so League Cup and Cup Winners' Cup, the treble was still on for Everton. We're going to take our second and final break now. When we come back, we'll have the run into the 84-85 season.
Proudly sponsored by C&A Building Plastics.
Forget fancy electronics, spy stories and overinflated budgets. This is what Formula One is really all about. Hot girls, big ends, and the smell of burning rubber. It's Formula One Retro. Watch it again for the first time. Vroom.
Every night next week at 9:30 on ESPN Classic.
That's right. Pizza Hut prepare all their pizzas by hand.
Boiler breakdowns. They don't just turn things Arctic, they can also turn out to be seriously expensive. Call British Gas Home Care on 0800 466 322.
Morning, Mr. Johnson.
And you can start taking care of your boiler from just £9 a month. Choose between a fixed fee of £50 per repair, or pay a little more each month and get all repairs included. Fast, affordable home care. Call us now on 0800 466 322.
Whole grain just got exciting. New Sunbites from Walkers. The tasty snack with a third of your daily whole grain.
Hey! Buying car insurance online is easy. Finding a great deal on your car insurance, that's the trick. At elephant.co.uk, not only could you make big savings, but if the unexpected should happen... Whoa! Elephant car insurance includes a courtesy car as standard, windscreen repair, legal protection, personal injury cover, and you can protect your no-claims bonus. Now that is seriously good car insurance.
For great value car insurance, click on elephant.co.uk.
Getting off cigarettes on your own is hard. Getting the right help can make it much easier. It's been proven that you're up to 4 times more likely to quit successfully with support from the NHS. There are lots of kinds of support available. Call this number now to find out which method will suit you best and for a free DVD on how to quit. For more information and your free DVD, call 0800 169 1697 now or visit www.nhs.uk/go-smoke-free. Get off cigarettes with NHS support.
Collect points on Walker's packs and earn fantastic discounts on Great British trips at walkers.co.uk. So grab your bags and save a packet.
We respond to 8 in 10 boiler breakdowns the same day.
Morning, Mr. Johnson.
Call British Gas Home Care now on 0800 466 322.
Up the hill. How's that look?
There's your champion. Maybe. Yes, sir! There it is!
The Masters Movies. Monday at 5:45 on ESPN Classic.
Proudly sponsored by C&A Building Plastics.
Welcome back. It's the 1984-85 season. Everton are unbeaten in the FA Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup, and for the first 4 months of 1985, the League Two, as they close in on the First Division title. Here they are in action in the first week of May against Sheffield Wednesday.
From Boxing Day past May Day, Everton's journey from the dressing room has been made with relish and their return with a smile. 25-game unbeaten run towards the treble, and whatever the final outcome, unquestionably deserving the title of Team of the Season. And for their supporters, the added point to whet the appetite, the chance that they could do something which has so far eluded Liverpool, win the Cup and League double. Sharp. Trevor Stephen, Gray's far post, beautifully chipped up and blocked on the near post by Smith. Near post in the end, Trevor Stephen breaking to the right. It was a delightful little chip across for the diving head of Gray, who suddenly found the post was being covered by Mark Smith. Sharp. Surprisingly got away, 3 up to help. Lyons, Gray. Well, he rather mishit it, to tell the truth. But Hodge was already diving across, and the ball filled the space that Hodge had left. So Andy Gray, one of 8 players on the field in the double scoring column for goals, takes his personal tally to 12, to the obvious delight of the Everton supporters. Marwood. Must be Verratti. Oh, what a brilliant save! How did he deflect that? because I don't believe that Berardi actually hit it very hard, which in a curious way might have made it more difficult. Gray, Sheedy, fine save by Martin Hodge. Stephen. And the championship is there for Everton's taking on their own ground on Monday.
And Peter, of course, you did take the title 2 days later at home against QPR.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the crowd were up for it, obviously. I think everyone knew how strong we were, with no disrespect to QPR at the time. We were going to win it, and we were going to win it on that Monday. And I can remember, trying to get to the game. The traffic jams were horrendous, and it was a packed Goodison Park with brilliant atmosphere.
And to win it with 5 games to go, 13 points clear of your nearest rivals, who happened to be Liverpool, I mean, that must have been a tremendous sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to win a championship is fantastic, and especially, as we keep mentioning, them across the park. But I think to win it so convincingly as well, you know, there was no doubt that we were the best side in the land at that time.
All right, let's rewind 10 days or so from that game, back to the Cup Winners' Cup. You were through to the semi-final against Bayern Munich, drew 0-0 away. Let's take a look at an absolutely epic second leg at Goodison Park.
Turgle is onside and clean in at Neville Southall. And Hernes off the goalkeeper. There are 2 on the line for Everton, but Hernes finds a way past them. Gray goes in. Sharp! The perfect start to the second half. Stevens with another testing long throw. Faf lost it. A goal. Andy Gray. Gray is onside. Played onside by Nagfai. And Trevor Stephen. It's settled now. Rotterdam, here they come.
Peter, a great game and an amazing atmosphere at Goodison that night.
Well, I remember they were a great side. Mateus, Lerby, middle of the park, Organ Tyler at the back, Honus, Faf in goal. I mean, quality side, but when you talk about atmospheres, and I've played in many big games at Goodison Park and great games, this was the ultimate. It was always electric. I mean, and you couldn't get in. We were in a hotel in Liverpool for a sleep in the afternoon, and trying to get to the ground in the bus was ridiculous. You couldn't get nowhere near it. And the abiding memory is, as we run out, there's a little church in the corner that I think is famous. I mean, that was packed. I mean, I think it's the biggest congregation that church had in many a year, but it was just electric, and it was a massive game, and one that we were all ready for. You know, we fancied that.
But to go 1-0 down,
yeah, really interesting, because we'd played ever so well the first half. When 1-0 down on the break. To be fair, they were a really good side, and I was having stitches in my leg at the time, and it was a bit frantic in the dressing room. Now it's gone. Relax, go out, do what you've been doing. You're kicking it into the Gladys Street end. They'll suck it in. That's all he said. That is all he said. And we went out, and what he said come true.
All right, so through to the final of the Cup Winners' Cup. Let's take a look at that now. Everton against Rapid Vienna in Rotterdam.
Ristic. Oh, the back pass might come to Sharp. He's got Andy Gray in there. That's the goal! Given away by Vienna in the end, and Andy Gray capitalised with help from Graham Sharp superbly. There's the back pass that was never going to reach its man. Here comes Graham Sharp, eluding the keeper, eluding the challenge. He looks up. What a ball that is. And what a lovely left foot finish there by Andy Gray. Everton in the lead. Brian Clough.
I do realise it was a bad back pass, but Sharp does absolutely magnificently here. It could have gone down there for a start. He even finds time to look up, and then he nearly puts it through the goalkeeper's hands. In fact, I think he did. And Gray tucks it in beautifully.
Bracewell. And again, getting it back. Everton fans are enjoying this. Bracewell again, but can they find the explosive finish? The dummy by Stephen. It's Paul Bracewell again, the little chip in for Trevor Stephen! Oh, magnificent save! Some save there by Consell. But what a lovely piece of play by Trevor Stephen. Making that brilliant shooting chance for himself, and a fine piece of keeping. And if the photographer will just move just a moment for Kevin Sheedy, there's the cross coming in, and it went all the way, and it's in there, and it's Trevor Stephen, and it's the second for Everton. Well, the defence allowed that to go all the way through. Trevor Stephen was Johnny on the spot, and the Rapid Vienna defence must be looking amongst themselves to say how on earth did that get through so many of our defenders and reach Trevor Stephen and put Everton 2-0 ahead. Oh, here's a chance for Krenkel. Krenkel! Well, what seemed impossible has happened. Rapid Vienna have found a breakthrough. Krenkel looking suspiciously offside, but the flag stayed down. Has brought Rapid Vienna dramatically back into the game with just 5 minutes left. 2-1.
It's amazing what certain decisions can do in football. That looked offside from where I was sitting. Everton scored a goal that didn't look offside.
Now here's Sheedy. Well, there's the answer. Oh. Take that. And if there were any lingering doubts for just a moment, that faithful left foot of Kevin Sheedy has put paid to those. Brian again. A lovely ball by Graham Sharp for Kevin Sheedy.
He takes it absolutely magnificently. Looks up, I think it clips the post and goes in. A beautiful reply.
They're nearly there. And now they are there. Everton have won it by 3-1. The goals from Gray, Stephen and Sheedy. Krenkel replying to Rapid Vienna. And the Everton fans, 20,000 of them and more in the stadium in Rotterdam. A joyous night for them, and certainly their team has done British football proud as Kevin Ratcliffe raises the European Cup with his cup.
Kevin Sheedy with the winning goal there and the distinction of interrupting Brian Clough mid-sentence, which not many players have ever done. Peter, a pretty comfortable win apart from that 60 seconds of anxiety after Krenkel scored.
Yeah, I think during the game we were always too strong for the Austrian side. They had Krenkel in the side, but we went into that game, I don't think overconfident, but extremely confident we were going to win it. I think we knew because they played Celtic at Old Trafford early on in the season because of a crowd incident at Parkhead, so a lot of the lads had been to watch him. So we always knew that we had a bit in the, you know, we were a better side, and it was a great performance. Never gonna get beat, even though they got one back.
One thing that really stands out, looking from the perspective of today's game, is the first goal. It's impossible not to imagine Graham Sharp going down nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a touch on the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper just touches him. Well, it makes contact, as they say nowadays. But Sharpie was just concerned of getting the ball, finding Andy Gray with it. I think he clipped it back through the goalkeeper's hands, and Andy did the rest, stuck it in the net. But yeah, stood on his feet, stayed strong in the box, which I've got to say doesn't happen these days. Well, it doesn't happen. I haven't seen that happen. Players go down a lot easier these days, let's say that.
Now, you said the league was the one you really wanted to win, but Everton had never won a European trophy, so how important was it to be the first team to do that?
That was massive, massive. I mean, the league was always the priority. Once that was over and done with, and like we said before, it was, you know, we won it early. This was, you know, you're in history as the first Everton team to win it. Well, we're the only one up to now, and it was a massive game for all concerned. And it was second leg of the treble, so we wanted to win that one.
Yeah, the treble was still on, but the problem with having a great season is fitting in all the games. 3 days later, you had to play Manchester United.
That was very difficult because, I mean, I'm talking about the times. If it was happening now, you'd be laid up in Rotterdam and travelling down to London. I mean, I've got to say, we did have a few drinks on the plane, got back onto Merseyside early hours of Thursday morning, and then had to, you know, report to Belfield, which is a training ground at the time, on the Friday to travel down to play a FA Cup final, which, as everybody knows, it's rather tiring, and it didn't help when the FA Cup final was, I think, the hottest. It was a real hot day, we remember that. But that's the way it was in them days.
And one goal decided it, not yours?
No, it was a great goal. I still blame Pat van der Now for showing Norman on his left foot where he was strongest.
Norman Whiteside.
Norman, the Whiteside's a big pal of mine, but he was a brilliant player, but he wasn't. He was very similar to me. He wasn't blessed with pace. And obviously that final was Kevin Moran got sent off in that final, but we just caught short, and it was particularly galling because we beat Manchester United 5-0 early on the season. We beat them in the League Cup, and believe it, well, we were a better side than them, but it was one game too far.
So, I mean, did that great season then end on an ever so slight downer? That you hadn't finally put... I mean, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But failing to put the final nail into the treble.
Well, funny enough, when we come off, you know, we were all disappointed, and this is true. Howard's like, oh, great season, lads. And I've kicked off on Pat van der Now because being a winner, what are you doing? Showing him on the left foot, show him on his right foot. No, but so it's kicked off in the dressing room, believe it or not, and we were all like arguing. But after the, let's say, the emotions of the game got over with, it was a great season. Just unfortunate we run out of gas in that final.
So, yeah, I mean, by anyone's standards, 2 trophies, not a bad return for a season's work. And, I mean, there was more to come in individual honours. You got the PFA Player of the Year, Neville Southall was the Football Writers Player of the Year, and Howard Kendall Manager of the Year. Yeah, I mean, I've got to say it was a great honour for me personally, and for Neville, and for the gaffer Howard. But, you know, it was the team, it was the squad. Everybody went in there and done a job, and it was a great Everton side to be involved in. You must have felt you had the makings of a dynasty, but as everyone knows, a couple of weeks later, the Heysel Stadium tragedy happens, and Everton are denied a chance to go into Europe. I mean, do you think about what might have been?
Yeah, very disappointed in it, but it was out of our hands, you know. Who knows what might have been. All I know is that in this particular season we're on about, we were the best.
All right, here's a difficult one to finish then. You were the best that season. The yardstick at Goodison, as we've already mentioned, is the 69-70 championship team. How do you think 84-85 stacks up against 69-70?
That is a great question. It's always really difficult to compare eras, but I'd be diplomatic and say to be compared to that 70s side is an honour in itself. You know, Ball Harvey, Kendall, Le Bone, at the back, Tommy Wright, these players, Big Joe Royle. I mean, it's an honour to be compared with them. It would have been a good game, that, us against them.
All right, Peter, thanks very much. Fascinating stuff. And we'll be doing the same drill next time with another team, another player and another historic season. See you then.